All right, let's talk about one of the biggest and maybe most confusing health trends out there, the keto diet. You've probably heard about it, right? We're going to cut through all the noise and get straight to what it is, how it actually works, and you might be surprised where it really came from. It's got a pretty deep history in medical science. Okay, let's just dive right in. Does this sound familiar? I mean, it's that constant cycle of diet trends that can just make your head spin. One year, it's all about low-fat everything. The next, carbs are the enemy. This quote just nails that feeling of frustration, and I think a lot of us can definitely relate to it. So, how do you get off that roller coaster? Well, the approach we're looking at today isn't really a modern fad at all. It actually has this really fascinating backstory that's totally rooted in science, and that's where our journey really begins. Now, here's what's so interesting about the keto diet. It wasn't invented in some gym or cooked up on a wellness blog. Nope. Its origins are 100% medical, and they go back about a century to solve a really specific, really serious problem. So for centuries, doctors saw this weird thing happen. Fasting could actually calm down seizures. But, let's be real, you can't fast forever, right? So then in 1921, a doctor at the Mayo Clinic has this light bulb moment. He thought, what if we could trick the body into thinking it's fasting, but with food? And that's how we came up with this high-fat, low-carb diet that was, frankly, a game changer for kids with epilepsy. Now, it kind of faded into the background when new drugs came along, but recently it has roared back into the spotlight, not just for epilepsy, but for the incredible things it does to our metabolism. Okay, so what is it exactly? A true ketogenic diet is all about flipping your macros, your macronutrients, upside down. It's not just another low-carb thing. It's a very specific formula. Tons of healthy fats, a good amount of protein, and almost no carbs. That precise ratio, that is the secret key to everything that comes next. So how in the world does that mix of food actually work inside your body? Well, it's all about flipping a switch, your body's primary fuel switch, to be exact. Think of your body like a car, a hybrid car. On a normal diet, packed with things like bread and pasta, your engine runs on glucose. That's just a fancy word for the sugar that comes from carbs. But when you take away most of those carbs, your body panics for a second and has to find a new fuel source. So it switches over to its backup power and it starts breaking down fat into these amazing little energy molecules called ketones. Suddenly, your engine is running on fat instead of sugar. And that state, that's what we call ketosis. That's the whole goal. When you hit ketosis, your body gets incredibly good at burning its own fat for fuel. And here's the really cool part. Your brain, which uses a ton of energy, can run on ketones too. That's why so many people on keto talk about feeling sharper and more focused. Okay, so becoming a fat-burning machine sounds pretty good, but what else happens? Well, it turns out that flipping this metabolic switch sends these positive ripple effects all throughout your body. The benefits are actually surprisingly broad. Yeah, the impact here is pretty huge. When you look at heart health, studies show it can lower things like triglycerides and blood pressure. And for your overall metabolic health, it's amazing at getting rid of that dangerous belly fat, the visceral fat. And it can seriously bring down your blood sugar and insulin levels. But the brain thing is what I find so fascinating. That ability for ketones to power your brain is why people report that laser focus. So you see, it's about way more than just losing weight. It's like a full body reset. Now, we gotta be honest here, there are some adjustments. The most common one, and let's be real, it's a little weird, is something people call keto breath. It's just a temporary sign that your body's making ketones. But yeah, it's a thing. It's something to know about while your body gets used to the new fuel. Okay, so you get the history, you get the science, but how do you actually do this? Let's break down the basic practical principles. This is pretty much the blueprint. You're aiming for about 75% of your daily calories to come from fat, 20% from protein, and just a tiny little 5% from carbs. Getting this ratio right is exactly what tells your body, hey, time to flip that fuel switch and go into ketosis. So what does this actually look like on your plate? It's all about the swap. You're basically saying goodbye to things like bread, pasta, potatoes, and even a lot of sugary fruits. And instead, you're filling your plate with delicious, healthy fats like avocados and olive oil, quality protein from meat and eggs, and a ton of leafy green vegetables. And if you're sitting there thinking, this sounds super restrictive, well, take a look at this. This is a rich, creamy, delicious chocolate mousse, and it's 100% keto-friendly. The whole idea that dieting has to be about boring, bland food, yeah, this way of eating totally blows that myth out of the water. This slide just says it all, doesn't it? This amazing-looking quiche is the whole philosophy in one picture. You literally ate fat to teach your body to burn its own fat. It's a really simple but really powerful idea that just flips so much of what we've been told about dieting completely on its head. So after all that, the history, the science, how it works, we're left with this one big question. This isn't just about another diet trend. It's about understanding how your own body works on a fundamental level. So could flipping that metabolic switch, changing from a sugar burner to a fat burner, could that be the key you've been looking for? It's a pretty powerful idea to think about.